So, after this argument we just had, I guess what I want to do is let me get you something that you've been telling me you've been wanting for a while. Let me order it for you right now, actually, because I want to make this comfortable for both of us, since we went through pretty tense time of interacting with each other because we both got annoyed and upset. Things were said. You were unwarranted with things you did. I got immature and became, extra myself and did some unwarranted, immature reactions towards you. So let's use material gifts to lighten the tension in the room and camouflage it with a material gift that you've always wanted me to get for you, or that you've always wanted, so that we can go back to just smiling at each other and enjoying each other's company and not touch on this situation again. In fact, let's use material exchanges to completely suppress and ignore the verdict of the fact that this is not going to be talked out or talked about ever again, because I just don't want to re-enter a scenario or atmosphere that gets so tense to the point that it's hard for us to even talk to each other because we don't know how to regulate our emotions. So I'd rather just use something external of us to build our connection off of, instead of building it off of learning to regulate ourselves in order to better communicate with one another, because clearly we don't know how to do that, and I am not in the space where I have the patience to learn how to do that, and I don't think you are either. So let's find something external of us to continue developing and building our relationship on instead. Yeah, I just ordered something that you told me a few months ago that you wanted, so it'll be here tomorrow. You're welcome. You want to go out for a drink? Oh, so this relationship is basically going to be a surface level connection where we don't face our emotions when we are triggered and reacting to one another, and we don't face ourselves individually and together with what we could have done better. We just want to use events external of us and material items to build a relationship that inevitably will only be built on material items and surface experiences that are meant to just be a moment in time, versus us connecting on a level that allows us to learn how to accept one another in a completely different way. And actually putting the patience, time, and effort into learning how to do that. Yeah, I used to operate in that mindset myself. You can keep the gift. Matter of fact, can you return it if you can't cancel the order? Because I don't want to build my connections off of material items to suppress the fact that clearly we have likely outgrown this connection if you don't have the patience to learn to regulate things with me and practice teaching ourselves to do that individually and with one another, and holding the space for one another to be able to practice that out of respect for valuing the connection we hold with each other. Because the way that I'm shown somebody values a connection with me is that they can hold space for me while I am sitting with myself to look at what I need to look at for me, because that's what I require in order to be able to grow and develop a connection with somebody else. If you can't hold space for me and you want to use external things to develop a connection with me, keep it, because that's manipulating a connection to continue lasting on for years or months, depending how long it'll last, because it's not a good foundational base for connection. No, I just don't need it. I just don't need it. Don't give me gifts to avoid the work you need to do on yourself. And as much as I don't want to have to sit with myself on days that are tough, I still choose to show up anyways, because I actually value the connections I choose to connect with. And because I value them, I choose to be responsible for myself when I recognize that I need to look at something, or when somebody lets me know that there's something unwarranted I have to look at that clearly was displayed in a position that had offended them or put them in a position that either triggered them or disrespected them. No. No. No, I used to have a lot of connections where I built material items off of, and yeah, guess what? They're not all in my life anymore. Yeah, because when I started working on myself, that actually causes connections that were built on external experiences and moments and external material items. Usually, when a person starts to learn emotional regulation for themselves and learn about who they are, any connection that does not get developed and has the same foundation usually drift away. They drift apart or bridges get burned depending on exactly who that person is in the connection and who they are connected to. Yeah. Also, don't project onto me. Do not project onto me that I'm not likely going to sit with myself because you don't want to. Okay? Don't do that with me. I am not you. I am me. Okay? And I'm not going to project onto you an expectation or value that I hold. I'm just going to decide for myself and see for myself what position I'm going to have to now place you in my life and take responsibility for how much I either interact with you or if I'm going to continue even a relationship with you at all. So, yeah, before I make a decision, I need to sit with myself and reflect away from you. So, no, we're not going to get no drinks and don't buy me anything because you're not buying me things for the right reasons. And it's going to piss me off.